everyone, I'm Andrea from Turn to the Stars. Thanks for tuning in again with me today. Today is October 11th, 2020, and we are certainly moving through some really tumultuous times. However, there is some really supportive energy that I want to talk about as well today. And today is going to be just an overview. Typically, I do once a week a very comprehensive cover of the astrology forecast for the week ahead. But today, I'm going to cover some highlights. And one of the things that I think is so interesting, and one of the reasons that I study astrology is, just like Plato said, we observe the stars to cultivate wisdom. And Plato must have been a farmer, because he uses the word cultivate, and he knows, if you're a farmer or if you're a gardener, you know how important it is to cultivate the ground so that it's healthy for the plants to grow. So I thought that was a pretty interesting piece of wisdom. So we observe the stars to cultivate wisdom. And moving on, the moon today is in Leo, and we're just passing through it being in some pretty difficult configuration. So it's reminding us of the parts of us that are very set in their ways. But it's also reminding us that today's a great day to play. Leo is the sign that is ruled by the sun, so it's about playing, it's about being creative. Leo loves to be recognized. It's a big-hearted sign. It's a sign that is very, very loyal, and it's bright, it's creative. But one of the things that's hard for it is to let go. And so with the moon in Leo today, it is a positive inspiration for all of us. And so I would recommend that you get out and play and have some fun, enjoy the sunshine. It's really healthy to get outside. But the other thing that we have that's very strong today, and with the new moon coming in, is that Mars retrograde. Mars is in Aries. Mars wants to move, wants to go, wants to take action, especially in Aries, but it's retrograde. Retrograde means that it's time for us to physically, wherever that Mars transit is happening, in reference to your birth chart, that's the area that's really highlighted for you as far as your actions, your activity. And you might even want to take a look at where Mars is in your birth chart, because that's being very, very highlighted by this Mars retrograde, which is lasting until the beginning of January. Mars in Aries, that it is, but the retrograde lasts till the middle of November. So the retrograde period is the time where we look back at things, to revisit them and to revise them and to review them and to fix them if there's something that needs to be fixed there. So it's really good to know what those transits are. And if you're interested in knowing more about that, please contact me, Andrea at Turn to the Stars. I'd be happy to help you understand that. And the new moon that we have is coming on October 16th. That's this week. It's going to be in Libra, the sign of relationships, ruled by Venus. So it's a very loving sign, but it's also a very diplomatic sign. It's a sign that inspires us to get justice. It wants us to weigh things out. It wants us to communicate and talk about the bad, talk about the good, and see where can we meet in the middle. How can we compromise or collaborate? Now Mars is going to be opposite that new moon on Friday, so there is going to be a level of tension, possible discord, but oppositions raise our awareness of what we like, what we don't like, what we can, not only that, it raises, everybody's awareness is raised. So it's about collaborating. And with Mars involved here, with the opposite the sun and moon, this is a new theme. So there's this new theme that is coming in, that the sun is shining on, and the moon is, you know, brings energy from our soul and the collective consciousness. So oppositions can be very, very difficult if you don't have two parties that want to work together. And if you have anything around 23 degrees in any sign in your chart, you're going to be having some experiences that are connected with this new moon. So it's a new theme, and I use a technique called the cosmic key, which I look at for my clients, and it's very helpful because it tells us the area of concentration where this theme is beginning in this person's life, where there's something that's going to be growing as that light reflected on the moon every day grows. It grows our consciousness, our unconsciousness, things we're not conscious of. So the other thing I want to remind you about also that is still very present is that just earlier today the moon trined Chiron. And Chiron is in the sign of Aries. So there is a lot of self-healing that is going on right now for everybody on this earth. Wherever Chiron is transiting in your birth chart would be an area where you're going through dealing with pain and looking for answers of how to feel better. What's that going to look like for me? What can I do? This is the most positive response, because so often, and there's so many people in pain right now on earth. So it's really it's really helpful to understand, like Plato said, we observe the stars to cultivate wisdom. So it would be really helpful if you could know where this Chiron is transiting in your birth chart, because it does pertain to you. And whatever planets it's forming aspects with is going to tell us the story about what those influences are. And so I actually wrote, when I first started studying Chiron, I wrote prescriptions for dealing with the healing side of every single one of the Chiron in each of the signs. And so that's something I have found to be very, very helpful. And it's if you understand where the pain is or where the scar is, a prescription means that these are ways, or these are ideas, these are methods we can use to look for the healing side rather than sitting in the pain. And so it's going to indirectly bring up the Chiron in your birth chart as well. So one of the other things I want to just touch on lightly is Mercury is stationing right now. Mercury is the planet of communication, knowledge. It's about making decisions, and it's about to turn retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. So we're going to want to really be allowing ourselves to dive deep. Scorpio is the sign of the healer, but the process that's involved is very plutonic. And that means that there's a process involved of going through the muck, so to speak, or uncomfortable energy in order to get to the pearl. I had a friend, actually a guest on one of my TV shows years ago, and she said that Scorpio energy is always about diving for the pearl. So, meaning that there's a treasure beneath all what's on the surface. So, Mercury retrograde is going to be about 2.5 weeks long, and I believe it ends November 3rd. And there's a turning point in the middle of there, which I'll talk about moving forward, what that is. Because when the sun comes together with Mercury, it is a time of aha. I see what this is about. it's like a download of information, and especially with Mercury in opposition to Uranus. And Mercury is in the sign of Scorpio, which is us thinking about resources, others' resources, changes that are happening with around us. And very important for us to think very carefully about our responses to other people, especially with this opposition. And because Uranus can bring some really sudden, unexpected, rebellious, sudden realizations which are revealed through outside circumstances. So this is going to be a pretty long transit because of Mercury's retrograde, and it's going to, for the most part, be opposite Uranus for quite some time. So we're going to probably see some very shocking things in the news. I would say keep a close eye on your financials, on your bank accounts. Pay close attention to anything that's electronic. Uranus rules over electronic. That's very, very important. But also, in your conversations with other people, there's also the possibility of some unbelievable sharing of ideas for invention. That is a strong possibility as well. So kind of keep your eye open on all those things, and certainly if you want more information on how this is personally influencing your life, I would be happy to talk with you about that. And I'd love to hear from you. My email is Andrea@TurnToTheStars. I'm on Facebook, Turn to the Stars, or as Andrea Clem. And I'm on Instagram. I am going to be doing something every day, because I think that this time we're living in is extremely Uranian, meaning that we're all waking up to different circumstances. We're realizing the world is not going to be the same moving forward. So I'm happy to connect with you in this way. And I am a Gemini, so I am a news is what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to spread information, spread knowledge, share knowledge. And my moon is in Capricorn, so I'm a natural teacher. That's one of my most favorite things to do, is to teach. And you can find out more about that on my website at turntothestars.com. I do teach astrology. I have an 8-week course, which is very comprehensive. You can do it privately, or if you have a group that you'd like to pull together or ask me to pull together, I'd be happy to do what I can to help out in that way. So I want to say thanks for tuning in, thanks for your support, and as always, may the good in the world find its way to you. And remember, turn to the stars and you'll find your answers there. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Sunday, and I'll be back tomorrow with some much deeper insight into the week ahead with a lot more detail. Have a super awesome, bright, shiny day. Take good care. See you tomorrow.